Well, welcome in everyone to the AL Recruiting Power 5 podcast. We have a special guest, Nathan East. He's a Samford alumni now, and he's a current Los Angeles Chargers. Nathan, we're glad to have you, and how does that sound?
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me. And it sounds exciting. Hadn't even hit me yet, really, but it sounds pretty awesome.
Awesome. Well, we'll get into your contract and being an undrafted free agent in a little bit, but kind of the first question we really want to dive into a little bit is your recruiting your senior year. And kind of one of those things is that I connected with you in, your senior year. You were at McAdory High School, and you kind of blossomed your senior year. I remember watching your film, and at the end of your senior year, you were fast, you were playing safety, you were a headhunter. And I just kind of started corresponding with a few coaches I knew. And so tell us a little bit about what you were hearing going into your senior year and what that year was like for you.
Yeah, I had gone to, all the camps, all the prospect camps, 7-on-7 stuff, summer before junior year, summer before senior year. And we had a good team. So we had a lot of athletes that were getting offers and getting looks. And, maybe I was getting overlooked a little bit, or maybe just hadn't really developed into what college coaches might have thought a, Division I football player could be. But I do think my senior year, I was able, put on some weight, like you said, get faster, get bigger in the weight room, just learn football a little more. So I was hearing from teams, but it was really just, hey, we'd love to have you. Hopefully you can get some academic money. You can come be a walk-on for us. And of course, I was reaching out when I could. I remember, just doing anything I could. I reached out to y'all, kind of just to get my name out there, see what you guys could do for me. But it really wasn't until after the season I heard from Samford. I want to say it was late December, maybe January. I went on an official visit like third or fourth week of January, and it was maybe less than a week before signing day. I think signing day was February 2nd. So they pulled the trigger and finally offered me there at the very end. So it was testing my patience a good bit. I thought I was going to Jacksonville State as a preferred walk-on, but God had other plans, and it worked out there towards the end.
Well, and a little bit of behind the scenes that now that you're an alumni, you're not on the team, but Samford was good to you. But I say this to say I'd sent one of the coaches at Samford a message about you, and he said, yeah, we know about Nathan and we love him. And so one of the things I want to kind of point out through this is that it's not a team's responsibility to promote you as a player or a recruiter as an individual.
Yeah, and you see a lot of guys, especially those 3, 4, 5-star guys, once they get an offer from this school, all these schools in that conference, start offering. Especially when you start talking about these Power 5 schools. You get an offer from Kentucky, Vanderbilt. As soon as you get that Auburn offer, Bama, Georgia, all these schools are going to start offering. And of course, that translates to the FCS level, smaller schools, non-Power 5 schools too. The more offers you get, the more attention you're going to get from all these other schools, how you mentioned.
Yeah, and so I think kind of what was happening was Samford liked you, and they knew nobody really knew about you. Nobody else had offered. And so they were just kind of playing it close to the vest because they wanted to get you as a player that they could use and develop, and as what happened, turn into a really, really good player for them.
Yes, sir. Worked out for both of us.
Yeah, it did. It did. And so just kind of put a bow on that. If you're a guy going into your senior year this year, put in the work, put the work in the weight room, put the work in at practice, put the work in the classroom, and then put it all on film and let the Lord sort it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I would emphasize just, I think I kind of fell into the trap of trying to look ahead, just so worried about I want to play college ball, not really overlooking your senior year, but I think that's the most fun you're ever going to have playing football. The guys you grew up with, the guys you've been with your whole life, and especially your senior year, of high school football, under the Friday night lights, really just taking that in and enjoying that. And like you said, letting the Lord handle what he has planned. So.
Absolutely, man. So you went in, I think and we'll talk about it question 3, but question 2 is just kind of like, what do guys need to know about playing college football? Is it what like I know a lot of these guys have aspirations to play ball, but what's the day like? What's the workload like to be a college football player?
Yeah, it's early morning workouts and then hustling, getting in the shower, going to eat breakfast and then making it to class on time. Of course, staying on top of your studies. So everybody sees the, highlights on Saturday, but really year long, you're pretty much training every day. But on top of that, you're having to, you're pursuing a degree, a bachelor's degree. So it's no easy task, of course, but similar to how I mentioned high school football, it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's a grind sometimes. People use that grind term a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it is, but you're working with these guys that everybody's chasing the same goal. So it makes it fun and putting in the work year long. When you finally do get to Saturday, it's all worth it.
Yeah. So your career is pretty interesting because in your career at Samford, you dealt with COVID. The portal really has become
Oh yeah.
a huge surge in that,
Mhm.
and you're dealing with NIL stuff. All of that in just in the time since you started, that stuff didn't exist on your signing day, and now you got all
Yeah.
this stuff going on. So, like, how did you kind of manage all that, and what was that like for you?
Yeah, I think college football, looking at it now versus, 6 years ago when I was coming out of high school, is totally different on every aspect. In my time at Sanford, COVID really was a blessing in disguise for me. I got I got redshirted my freshman year, so I knew I had a fifth year at the end.
Hmm.
And then when COVID happened, they pretty much gave everybody an extra year of eligibility. So 6 years of college football, just looking back now, allowed me to develop into the player I am, especially these last 2 or 3 seasons. Kind of becoming a leader on the team, um, starting grad school, just opportunities I wouldn't have had if I only had 4 years opposed to 5 or 6.
Hmm.
Um, but I do know, especially with the portal now, it has just changed the landscape of college football. We had this past season, my senior year, we were 11-2, undefeated in the conference. First time we won the conference since I've been there.
Hmm.
And for the first time, it was, we went into summer with guys that I was meeting for the first time. So we didn't have a off season together, 3 years to, grow that bond. So that aspect of it was interesting. Of course, we grew, closer together through practice and through hanging out outside of the field. But we probably had 8 of our starters were guys that didn't originally sign with Sanford on
Mm.
defense, at least. So it's just, and you look everywhere. There's guys entering the portal, going to these new teams, which I know makes it a different landscape for high schoolers coming out. Just because when you want to fill that one spot, you might go with an older guy.
Hmm.
But hopefully, here soon, once the extra year of eligibility from COVID kind of dwindles out, as guys kind of grow out of that, it might even out a little more. But it's definitely been a big change.
Yeah, I think man, you hit on something that I mean, I almost want to have a whole podcast about is that some of these guys, and when it's your senior year, it's your senior year. That's not, you can't do anything else about it. But some of these guys are just dealing with that, all these players from that extra year.
Yep.
And that's still probably 2 more years away from that
Yep.
kind of filtering out. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's not an easy, it's just, I don't know. It's just going to have to be 2 years until all those players process out. Then I think it will kind of level out after that.
Yeah. Less
Yeah.
roster spots and,
Hmm.
just more guys on the team, harder to get
Hmm.
scholarships available. So it's been interesting, but like you said, hopefully here soon it'll kind of level itself back out.
Yeah. And, you know, t- tell us a little bit about, you come in from McAdory as a safety, and you, like I said, we were talking a little bit before the interview, we was kind of debriefing a little bit, but you played with high profile players, and you were playing safety, and really, um, as I said, the thing that stood out to me, I can remember watching your film, and I can remember I had not seen you until your senior year. It really didn't stand out, but I thought, man, this guy will hit people, and he's fast for a safety. And and so when did you know, how were you successful at Samford? When did they make the move to go from safety to linebacker, or was that part of the plan in the beginning? Just tell us a little bit about how you kind of came in, not highly recruited, and then you became one of the leaders of the defense on a team that wins a conference.
Yeah, I remember when I would go to those Samford camps, I would always register as a safety. So I was doing all the safety stuff in front of the DB coaches before I got there. And then when they offered me, just kind of talking to the coaches, the plan was to bring me in and kind of put some weight on me, put me in the box a little bit, and primarily has me as kind of that Sam outside linebacker. So I knew going in what my expected role was. I needed to beef up a little bit while, trying to keep that speed. Um, I really think getting redshirted that first year was, of course, when you find out you're redshirted, it's like, man,
Mm-hmm.
thought I was ready to play, thought I was gonna, finally get to be out there on a Saturday. But like I said, looking back, it was perfect. It gave me a year to just develop into, going from a DB to a linebacker. And of course, putting on muscle, putting on weight, getting used to, being that close to the lineman, having kind of less time to shoot that gap or get off a block. So just kind of, obviously the coaches, they know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
When they're redshirt players, but having that year really helped me going into that next spring, that next fall camp.
And even as a side note, you started at Samford before the red shirt. Now they let you play like 4 games, and you still redshirt. But that wasn't even a rule then
Yep.
either, was it?
Nope. If you played one play, you
Yeah.
lost that. You lost that year. So I was a practice dummy, scout team killer. But I didn't see the field one time on a Saturday.
Yeah, so I'm man, so much changed,
It is
Scott. That's
different. Yep.
unbelievable. Like
It's crazy.
I hadn't even thought of all the rule changes when you were saying that. I was like, I think he was there before the
Yeah.
four
I
game
forgot about
rule.
that till you mentioned it. But yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like that's just, to me, it's incredible and so encouraging, and just to talk about Samford for 1 minute, Coach Hatcher's been there the whole time you were there.
Mhm.
And I know for the most part, pretty much all the assistant coaches have changed out, maybe one or two. You may know the one or two.
Yeah, especially on the defensive side of the ball, we've had, a lot of coaching change.
Yeah, I mean, because y'all are having so much success,
Mhm.
and even Coach Hatcher's success on offense and his scheme that he runs. There's been a lot of Sanford's coaches have went to Power Five schools to
Yep.
coach, and they kind of get picked off because y'all are doing so well.
Mhm.
But just talk a second. We're still kind of talking about Sanford. Talk a second about what it meant to have a head coach that was there the entire time.
Yeah, it's like I said, when you're there kind of in the moment freshman year, it's hard to kind of think about that year one, year two, year three. But looking back, 6 years of football, having the same head coach, the same pretty much schedule, year round,
Mm,
just the consistency and the trust you kind of build, that bond you kind of build with the head coach. Even Coach Hatcher being such a offensive minded coach, he connects with players obviously on both sides of the ball. So I just think that desire to play for him and want to do right and do your best and make plays and win the game, obviously for yourself, for your teammates, but for the head coach that's pouring his life pretty much into the Samford program. He's got his family, in Homewood. They're at all the games. Like that's his passion, and he loves Samford. So it makes you want to play for him. So
that's awesome. I mean, and I've gotten to talk to him a few times and meet him. He's an awesome dude, and my wife's a Sanford grad, so
nice.
she's all
Go
about that
Bulldogs.
too. Yeah,
Yes,
go
sir.
Bulldogs, absolutely. Um, so kind of moving forward, and here we are. You signed with the Los Angeles Chargers as an undrafted free agent. And I say this and I don't mean any disrespect to anybody else, but Nathan, here you are. You have a shot to make an NFL team. And there's a lot of guys in your signing class that never got that shot, that had a lot of stars by their names, but did not get this opportunity. So just kind of tell us, like, think about like how excited are you about this opportunity to get a chance to make an NFL team?
Yeah, I kind of mentioned it earlier when we were talking before. It hasn't really hit me yet, but growing up playing football, that's kind of everybody's dream. Little league to middle school to high school, everybody wants to play in the NFL. So just having the opportunity, I feel very blessed. But I just think it's, a testament to God's faithfulness and just, He laid it on my heart. I wanted to, in high school, I wanted to play college football. I get to college, and Coach Hatcher always talks about doing right and do your best. That's the only two rules he has. So just kind of staying out of trouble, doing what I needed to do off the field, of course, doing what I need to do on the field, in the weight room, and trying not to look ahead, trying to get better every day. And then God blessed me with health. I never really had any serious injuries, knock on wood, but just developing over 6 years, having that extra year with COVID. I just think my path God's just blessed me with great opportunities, and I've tried to take advantage of them as best I can. And, hopefully I can continue to make some strides towards that dream of making an NFL roster.
Well, man, I wish you nothing but success. And look, I will be praying you stay healthy and you find favor with coaches, because I do know this. I know the one thing I was talking about you the other day with somebody. And I said, the thing about him is that, I knew it when I saw your film in high school, is that if you like to hit, believe it or not, people in football, there's still guys that don't like to hit that are really good college players too.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get to the NFL, like, you've got to want to hit, and for a lot of guys, you got to play special teams. I mean, that's where a lot of guys make the team, because they're willing to hit and tackle. And
Right.
I think that, man, you got a really good opportunity, and a lot more than a lot of other guys do. And so, man, your story is incredible. And I just I'm happy for you, because I remember, like, you reached out and were like, hey, I need some help. And I was like, this guy's film is good enough to play somewhere.
Yeah. I appreciate you saying that. And it's been a long ride, but it's been crazy, just how stuff's worked out. I'm blessed.
Well, man, wish you nothing but the best. You got everybody at AO Recruiting, and our followers are going to be cheering you on, man. And
Sir, I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Well, Nathan, thanks for being on, and I appreciate you being here tonight.
Thank you, guys. I look forward to getting on again. We'll talk some more.
Absolutely. Well, thanks everyone for listening.